Okay, rulers, settle down. Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to get singles for all your Force of Will and other trading card games, as well as these amazing patrons. Special thanks to guest lecturer member Vite Ramen. Thank you for your support. Class is in session. Hello, rulers. Welcome back after a long week of Force of Will. But psych! We're not talking about Force of Will today. We're talking about alternate souls, and we're joined by the wonderful Jeff Finnigan. Jeff!
Yay!
Good morning!
Hey guys.
Over in
Good
Japan.
morning.
Hello. Thank
Oh
you for
yeah,
joining
good
us.
evening to you guys.
Yeah, it's a nighttime for us. Well,
Thank
we're glad
you.
you're here. For those of you who are joining us who maybe don't know what Alternate Souls is, we'll dig into that in just a minute. It is Eiji and My Will Studios and Jeff's new project that they have been working on since pre-COVID, and then there was the Kickstarter and a bunch of crazy stuff. It is an arena card game, which we'll go into a little bit about what that exactly means in a little bit. But I do want to say thank you all so much for joining us tonight. If you like what we do and you want to consider supporting the channel financially, you can click that join button down below, or just click the subscribe to let us know and make sure you're caught up to date on all of our content. Currently, we just passed our 100 member emote goal, so we have our new emote done by Fuchsia Art, who has redone all of our emotes, and you can check those out by if you are a member on the channel. You can spam those. Our new Kiki and everything else has been completely redone to match Fuchsia's style, and currently we're trying to get Troll Brad. The Troll Brad emote is our next one for 125 members, so if you want to help us get that one unlocked to start using, consider clicking that join button and joining us. That being said, hello at home with Dad. Good morning from the United States and Japan. Alternate Souls, Jeff, so I'm not talking constantly. Why don't you give us the quick 411 on exactly what Alternate Souls is for maybe those people who are new to the Force of Will universe and maybe didn't hear about this game when it first came out, and kind of like what we're dealing with here. What's an arena card game?
Okay, so I guess the easiest way to describe it is think of a card game combined with a chessboard, but in this case, rather than having rooks and knights and kings and queens, you have, for right now, some of your favorite Force of Will characters. For those that don't know, in the past, we had tried when Eiji and I were at Force of Will to try moving into the 3D realm a little bit. I think you were actually, Jeremy was at the Gen Con where we had the
little reds.
Narth-
yeah, little figurines.
figures. Yep. And so that was the first foray into it, but it was a limited time thing. After we changed, we decided to try this out. Basically, I love card games still. Eiji wanted to try a new thing, and so we kind of put that together and came up with an arena card game. You have a tiled field, which the starter set and the base set we're kind of coming out with. There are two different maps, and the plan is eventually to more maps and even release the assets so that other people can make maps of their own.
That'll be cool.
I think that'd be fun. And then on top of that, so essentially you have some of the terminology, I guess I should clarify, is similar to that of Force of Will in terms of like, I guess standby isn't exactly modern terminology. But you have standby, you have linkers instead of resonators, but they fill kind of a similar role. And then, of course, we still have rulers and J rulers.
Yeah.
So, basic idea is you're playing a board game with your, for now, Force of Will characters. I say for now because there are maybe plans to expand the universe outside of just Force of Will.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing that I'm excited for, seeing like what can possibly come out of it, because at the start of it, it was about this idea of we're creating a system that is something that even by lore standards can be multiverse connected and have all kinds of things putting in. And having played the game myself and helped do some testing for it, it's almost like you said, chess, but everything is essentially a king in terms of its ability to move, And then the cards are what provide you the greater variety and versatility and like ability to attack things at a distance or set up traps, or like that additional complexity comes from the cards. And I think that's, to me, has been the thing that I really have enjoyed with it, is because there is a lot of depth, that it's not just, oh, my hand sucks. It's actually like, oh, wait a minute, I can still move things. I can make, plans. I can hold off for a turn. It's a really good mix of those elements. So if you're a fan of chess or shogi, and you're a fan of card games and stuff, it's definitely something to jump in on. So the history of it is that it started as this potential Kickstarter with Japanime Games that had some hurdles, but was a good learning experience for you guys. And then there was the second Kickstarter, which was pretty dang successful. Like very successful
or something.
Yeah, it was really
That's pretty successful.
Yeah, it was very successful. I think you guys did a really good job of hitting the elements from the first one that people were hesitant about and kind of fixing it. And then COVID hits, as COVID does. And so
ruining projects.
So, but the reason why I wanted to get you on today, for those of you who are in the chat, feel free to ask Jeff any questions about Alternate Souls or anything else like that, because we'd love to be able to get that information to you guys. I'm loving seeing all the new emotes in the chat. Fuchsia did a great job with it, so it's very spicy, and I love it. You made a post in the Alternate Souls group earlier today that was like, this is a good topic to talk about, of what has been kind of going on lately and kind of what we're bringing to, and if there are things that you want people to know, maybe who didn't kickstart back it and are maybe interested in like how to get access to it, or like what's the current state of Alternate Souls, because we know it's coming out, but we've been kind of on this well understood hiatus for a bit.
Yep. So, all right. Excuse me. I think a good place to start maybe is I'll kind of go through the questions as they showed up.
Sure.
So, first and foremost, kind of talking about just the production of the game. I know as of literally this morning, Eiji sent me a message telling me that, so we will know to the day when production is finishing sometime this week. They're right now producing. We're not sure how far along they are right now. I know from what Eiji has told me last week, Alternate Souls was, for this company, this was the biggest undertaking, because they were traditionally a board game company rather than a card game company. And so we've had to kind of teach them about random allotments in booster packs and all that kind of stuff you can imagine. And that kind of ties into during the hiatus and the lockdown, Eiji and I kind of had time, and you were able to see kind of the different iterations of the game, both in the size of the figures, in the quality of the cards, in the quality of the box, etc. And so what we kind of did, and for those that may or may not know me, wait, we got a puppers. Oh no. Oh.
No puppers today, boyo.
I was sad. Sorry for anyone watching. I love cats and dogs, so I thought Jeremy was like, "Oh, here's my animal."
No, I was gonna go get these if people haven't seen them.
That's an animal.
That's an animal.
Yeah.
So these are the pieces. Yeah.
Guild dropped some bombs, but yeah. So you have these characters, and so even the original versions that we had were actually way too disproportionately sized to the playmats. Yeah, they were almost too big. Yeah. And so when you played with them, it was difficult to even play with. And yeah, they may be cooler as a just thing that you stand on your desk, but to actually play with it was quite difficult.
Yeah.
So through the last year or so, I guess a little bit less than that, but feels like it. We've kind of gone through, we've changed things we didn't like, and unfortunately, it probably means that were a little bit negative, even on our like we aren't able to make tons off of this, and that was never the point. The AG and I have both agreed that as long as we can like stay at least neutral, we're happy to keep doing these things because we do it because we love it. It's fun.
Yeah.
But in doing so, we've improved the box, we've improved the cards quality as far as the texture. For those that know me, I'm a big stickler on that. And then additionally, now things fit right. Things fit right on the play mats as well. And we actually have a video coming out. Hopefully, we just have to get some copyright stuff cleared up. But once that's all done, we have the video recorded of AG and I kind of giving an update. But
Excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing that for sure. We do have a question. How large is the booster set? And is there plans already for more sets, and will they all be the same size?
Very good question. So the starter, let's call it kind of the starter pack or whatever. There is 5 attribute starter decks. They are unique. And then additionally, there is a booster box. Now, the booster box has 25 unique figures. 5 of them are new rulers, and 20 of them are new linkers. And so in that, essentially, it means 20 new resonators, 5 new rulers for those force of will minded. Now you can mix and match your, I guess we'll call it armies, so to speak.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we kind of took away from early on comments was if you buy a booster box, you will get one of every single ruler and linker.
Yep.
They are randomized where they are in the packs. But if you buy a box, you will get one of everything. So if you want to play it like an LCG type game, you can. And the support cards of each linker or ruler are tied to their pack. So if you buy a pack, you open it up and it's, let's say it's Faria. The cards in that pack will be Faria's support cards. So you will always get the support for that character with your pack.
Yeah, I think that's really smart for the fact of, it's this, because it's a TCG in the fact of that you're like deck constructing, but like it is a lot less. It's naturally singleton because you only need one copy of every card, right? And I think also, you're right in the fact that it is very much in its own way a board game. It's just a board game where each player is bringing their half of the game to the table, as opposed to like, hey, I own Monopoly, let's play Monopoly. It's like I have half of a Monopoly board and you have half of a Monopoly board.
I have
we can
houses.
Yeah, exactly. And so this idea of not only the fact that if you want to just be able to outright buy the whole set, you have the whole set, but also if like, hey, you played a Force of Will tournament, you got some prize money, and you're like, I'll buy another pack of Alternate Souls for $4. And especially if you're buying from the same box that you bought from last week, you're not going to get duplicates.
Yeah.
So,
and that's kind of the point we did want to bring up too, is that we understand that not everybody wants to buy a box and not everyone can afford a box all the time. And so if you want, you can try your luck, buy a single pack. I know that because one of the, what are they called? Backer reward things was hit. Sorry, I don't know the terminology.
Yeah.
Started very well. But because we raised enough money, one of the things that we were able to do was to add foil cards, and those are intermittently dispersed inside of the packs as well. If the cards are foil, all of them for that character will be foil. And as those who may have been Yeah, go ahead.
That means that Alternate Souls has God packs, which is
In some
in
capacity.
its own way. But that's awesome.
I mean, we created God packs. Force the Will just keep doing them.
You're not wrong. Like that's
So yes,
that's
there
awesome.
are God packs. And for those that have maybe saw, I sometimes I share little peeks at stuff on the Discord, but there will also be some type of hot stamp in the
Ooh.
packs as well for certain cards. So
Nice.
again, those are randomly dispersed, and it's not a like it will always be the first pack kind of thing. Not like that.
Mike, you have been very quiet, which is fair.
Yes, we're
because
lonely.
I know that. Have you at this point had a chance to try out Alternate Souls, Mike?
I haven't, and that's a damn shame, I will say.
So
Look at. I've played more Tenchiku than I've played of Alternate Souls, which is so sad.
so
I'll
then
take it. I'll take it.
so then here's the follow up, Mike. With what? Because I know I've talked about it with you before, and I know that we've looked at product and everything else before. At least to that point, never played it. From your mindset, your experience as a player for the card game world, do you think that this is something that's going to like capture your interest? And if so, what is it about it that like what you're hearing or anything else that is things that are interesting to you? Because you have the most similar mindset right now as our viewers who haven't maybe played it before. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts.
Low key, don't suck up. Be honest.
Well, I think Jeff is just very beautiful and very. Anyway,
I didn't ask you about Jeff. I asked you about Alternate Souls.
That's fair. So Eiji is very beautiful. Anyway, no. No, but the thing about Alternate Souls that really kind of grabs me is the fact that so I'm not traditionally a board game player. I've played, I casually play Settlers of Catan with friends. I play code names because I love wordplay games. I really love just really casual board games, and I feel like Alternate Souls can definitely have some sort of competitive field to work with if it wants to become like a 3D TCG in a sense. You can have those kind of tournaments and you can have that structure, but I think that the biggest part of it is going to be showing up at a locals where you're like, hey, anybody else here play Alternate Souls? Let's slap our Monopoly boards together and go to town. And I think that's really another thing that really piques my interest about it is because of the massive amounts of nostalgia I have for playing. I don't know if I'm going to raise any flags for you guys. Duels of the Roses on the PS1 for Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yes, that's part of what. Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know much about Alternate Souls right now, and I know that there's a chessboard style thing with it.
It's a 5x5. It's a 5x5 grid. Yeah.
Okay. Do any of the spaces give bonuses to certain attributes?
Yes, they do. So that's the other thing. Because it's very much a Duelist of the Roses vibe in that way. That's the other thing is so there's a couple of things, which is why Jeff, at this point, I didn't know about the idea of potentially allowing people to make their own maps. That's insane. Is in the fact that there's 4 types of spaces in Alternate Souls, if I remember correctly.
Right now,
there's plains, mountain, forest. I guess 5.
Swamp, islands, forest.
So there's generics. There's generic space, mountains, river, forest, and then the citadel. Sanctuary or whatever, and the citadel is always a one of space that's
somewhere on the map
that if you control it at the start of your turn you get an additional resource for that turn, so it's kind of a fight to try to contain it kind of thing. And then there are certain cards that do more or cost less if that unit is on that type of space, or when you're moving there are certain types of spaces that stop movement. It is very much. Someone mentioned a mostly mini war gamer and some TCG on the side. Correct. It's very similar to that. It's your movements and your skills and actions, rather than just being naturally tied to the figure like they would be in Warhammer or something else like that, are tied to the cards in your hand. So deck construction is important.
Jeff, is there anything in the rules yet that forbids me from like gluing a bunch of pieces together and forming like a that takes up like 3x3 spaces and just steamrolls everybody?
Yes, there is. You're not allowed to do that.
Yes.
Are you sure?
And there's a push-out mechanic too that kind of is I don't know how much to kind of get into it, but it's kind of an advanced move where you can, as things come off the standby, and just to clarify, when a linker dies or at the start of the game, your ruler is on this standby. And essentially, each turn they get closer and closer to coming either back into play. If it is a linker who dies, they'll come back in. And your ruler has a set assortment of at the start where characters can start, but when they come off a standby, they can go anywhere in kind of your back row. And then your ruler, which will come in after a set period of time from the standby, and that can, if you put it somewhere, you can potentially have a push out, which essentially forcibly moves your team forward.
Yep. And
I won't get too into the rules and whatnot, but it's a very interesting mechanic. It can be used very, very powerfully. I just have to say on the side, when your ruler comes in, to me, it feels like that's one of the best things I think about playing Alternate Souls is like, I haven't played so much Modern Force of Will, but like when I first started playing, it always felt like when you judgment, and we've, I think, talked about this before, even back in the heyday, but like judgment was always like a should I judgment kind of thing. And sometimes it was like, this is going to be the swing of the battle, or this is going to be a huge battle tide switch. But I have never felt that more so than with a ruler coming in Alternate Souls, because you're seeing it kind of count down, and they all have pretty big effects when they come in. So like,
and sometimes you don't, and sometimes it punishes you though if you didn't play right. Like sometimes if you like don't play right and you like waste your time when a ruler comes in, it's kind of like it feels bad because you're like you don't make good use of it, and you're like, okay, well, that was great.
It's like, well, yeah, like if for by any chance that you have wiped out their field at that turn and it comes in, it's like banish it. I'm like,
I can't kill anything now. Yeah, no. I do remember.
So
I do remember.
Yeah.
I do remember there was a time when I was doing some testing with the initial like demo decks when that was just the 3v3 plus the ruler.
Oh yeah.
One of the players frickin' bum rushed and like got past everyone, and then a ruler came in and all of them attacked it and killed it and won the game. And you were like, well, that was unfortunate. Because the way Alternate Souls works, for those of you, I mean, again, if you haven't, new to the party, the way you win is by getting enough units across the other side of the board or killing the opponent's J ruler. So in this situation, instead of just trying to push for victory by going through me, they're just like, nah, your ruler's about to come in. It's not going to do anything, and then we'll kill it. I'm like, well, you're not wrong.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying there's lots of ways to like play through the game and play the strategy of it, and I agree with you that as long as you're doing it properly, your Jade Ruler definitely feels very impactful and comes in, which has that very good vibe. And like that's the thing about Alternate Souls is, to me, the tempo of the turns or the tempo of the game has never felt so one-sided at any point in time. It is like this very minor attritions, which to me makes it a very engaging experience from beginning to end. Like it's the 3v3 demo game. The 3v3 demo games can sometimes get steamrolled. The actual full the full 5v5 full experience game is like, okay,
much more. Yeah, and I do think. Oh shit! When you were just talking about it, it hit me. Say again. So you were just talking about combat and
lots of different ways to approach victory.
Yes. So when we were play testing, one of the things I noticed a lot was that I think this is where the more competitive nature, let's call it, comes in, is that if you have a game plan at the start of the game, you will be in a much stronger position at the midpoint than I think you would be in some other games where if you don't have a plan, because for those, I guess, again, for those who have played, you take turns setting your pieces at the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's very tactically important where if they have a flyer, do you have something that can block a flyer? Do you have movement cards that allow you to move horizontally or to go into diagonal directions, etc. So your positioning can be very, very important. And so it's very important, even as the game is starting during setup, that you have kind of a tacit understanding of how your deck is going to play to its victories.
Yeah.
Are you going to try and kind of run for double touchdown? Are you going to try to kill their ruler? Like, what is your plan?
It's very much like chess in that way, where like chess has different openings, right? The Scotch opening, the blah, 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 like all these different things, and like, in chess, you're always playing with the same pieces. You always have the exact same resources. This takes that idea of like having a unique opening and how you're going to decide to go, and puts it into the TCG world, which is very, very unique, a very, very engaging experience, and I'm excited to play it more. In terms of, we have two questions real quick. Abandoned VP, how much playtesting have you done already, Jeff, or maybe Jeremy, if you've played enough? I have done some playtesting. A lot of the 3v3 demo game before all the units were created. I personally didn't have a hand in any of the testing of the rest of the linkers or resonators. I have played 5v5 games, and like gotten a better feel of like what that feels like, to the point of where I can tell you that the 5v5 experience is a better overall experience than the 3v3. In terms of what things are broken, I've told Jeff some thoughts about some things from the first set that I've looked at it and gone like
with.
I've looked at it and I think it's one of the green card. I think it's either a green card or a black card.
Foul characters, green cards, balance issues.
What?
I think there's a free there's a green card that like if done at a timing is free, and it like moves you 2 spaces, and I'm like, that seems real good.
I think that's a Priscia.
Yeah, I think it's a Priscia card. And then there's another.
You see what happens with free green cards, bud.
And I think that there was another card for one of the black that like you can just suicide it, but the unit that it's made to go with only has like a recharge of like 1. So you're just like, suicide. Yeah. And you're just like, keep throwing.
So that's one of actually my favorite mechanic. I think it's called Regenerate in the final version.
Yeah.
It might have had a different name, but essentially one of the mechanics is that when a unit is recovering, so it's okay if you're, let's call it, the resonators are called linkers.
Yep.
When your linker dies, it's not always a bad thing. Some of them have very low kind of timers to come back into play. And so they can almost be used as a suicide unit with like a kill or something. So, you know what? I'm going to crash in. I'm going to die. Their maybe larger unit will die. It will take more turns to come back in. However, mine maybe has an ability called Regenerate, which means it moves 2 steps forward each turn on the standby lane. And if it has a relatively low cost already, it will come in again very quickly.
Yeah.
When I've made my test armies and stuff, that was my favorite mechanic, because I just like to be like, I will just smash into you and then I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
But, regarding the playtesting and whatnot, this time around, and I think this is more so for those of you who knew me or know me from Force of Will, I had a much bigger role in not only playtesting, but balancing and ban list creation, etc. when I was at Force of Will. Here, I don't do as much on the play testing side. We actually hired a team to do it this time, and so we have, but we work with some of you may even know them. Some of the Japanese pros that used to play Force of Will that were some of the world's best in Japan. Now
Yuki?
they and his card shop.
Yeah.
I love Naoki so much. Oh my god, he's such a good boy.
Isn't he? He's such a nice guy. Yeah, he got
He's
married.
such a
by
nice guy. No, what?
Congrats to him.
Congrats,
We do have a question for from Daniel real quick.
Yes.
He's asking, when is the Street release date? So I think that's part of a two-part question. Is first off, obviously the Kickstarter was kind of a straight to us kind of approach. So the first question is that, is there still plans for Alternate Souls to be commercially released? And if so, like through what channels? Like, do you guys have a connection to a distributor? And when is the kind of expected release date? So 3 questions really. Is one, is there going to be a commercial release?
Yes, there will be a commercial release. We've tentatively sold all of the product we made to cover. So we covered all the Kickstarters, and then the rest of the orders that we have produced have been pre-sold to distributors.
Cool.
In the US. And I know there was a couple shops that supported us. Thank you, Dylan, etc. For the Kickstarter. And so I know he will be selling it as well. But
do you know what do you know what
two.
do you know what distributor you guys are, or what distributors you guys are using? I know that YY Card World has worked with a lot of the Japanese companies, so I'm curious if you guys were.
And I'm assuming Southern Hobby as well.
I'm trying to, off the top of my head, who is the I've forgotten a lot of the names now. What is the one that distributes Force of Will right now?
That's YY. YY's the biggest of them out in California.
Okay, I believe YY is the one that had bought out.
They'll do good work with that. That's good.
Yeah, so the combination of both the stores that supported us during the kick, and of course they'll have a little bit more on the term, like they'll have extra stuff they can hook people up with, and then YY will also have stuff that they can distribute as they so choose. But
awesome.
And then the third question was
about expected potential Street release date.
Yes. Okay, so Kickstarters will be getting theirs as soon as stuff is off the production line. So it will be sent straight to the factory, or from the factory to them. So we'll get you guys
getting my giant Lilius pedal. Getting my giant Lilius pedal.
And then for the regular street date, it will be about, I believe, a month or so later.
Okay.
Basically what's going to happen is, for the street date and the distributor, that's getting shipped by sea, whereas Kickstarter supporters are getting airmail.
Oh, that's gonna be such a fun mail day. Because let me tell you, these things are fun to open. Like,
yeah, like
they're fun.
Looking forward to the openings.
Yeah.
That hopefully people will make, because that honestly is one of the funner.
These are I have never had more fun opening up a product than I have, like, for booster packing, than I have for these. Because the other thing too is these are just sick collectibles. Like that artwork is dope. Like,
I have that one on my work desk.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of the Welser and
I have a box of them that I have to put back together, but because these were the demo ones that I was sent to help do some beta testing with,
breaking,
some fixing with. But I'm very excited for the final products, and these will probably end up, once I have the real ones, these will probably end up like all over my office, on the ceiling, and like just characters staring at me from everywhere.
All right, Jeff. So if Jeremy's getting the giant Lilius, Who do I have to smooch to get a giant Valentina?
You don't have to smooch anyone. It wasn't one of the backer rewards.
I know. But
Although
who do
you
I
might have
smooch
to
get
fight with me to get it if
Let's see.
That's
so,
fair.
Was Valentina one of
We-
them?
Alright. You and me, outside of the
Val-
giant Gundam.
fisticuffs.
Val. I know
You'll
Val.
wonder, hopefully.
Well, so I know Valentina 1 was a linker, so you won't have
Yes.
it. There's no giant metal linkers. Just rulers.
However,
However,
Getting
so-
some spice.
there will be, so Eiji and I have talked about a set 2 and set 3 because people have talked and asked about this.
Yeah.
One of the things that we're trying to get down better now is to obviously COVID slowed everything down and the world is messed up, etc. But we're trying to get the production cycle time limit a bit shorter so that we could have, I don't know if we'd want to do it regular as in every 3 months or if we'd want to do a little bit longer or how we would do it, but we have talked about in the future going, obviously we'll still use Force of Will characters for a little while because I know there's a lot of characters that we didn't use the first time around that people really wanted us to use, and so that's on the docket. But then as well, like for those that know me, I love like Disgaea. I love Final Fantasy Tactics. I love a lot of what are they called? Tactical RPGs. And so I would love to kind of branch out, even maybe visit some of the original. I think, Jeremy, what was the original Vingolf called?
Engage Knights?
Engage Knights.
Engage Knights. Yes. And
Yeah.
I'm a huge sucker for historical characters. And so
Alternate Souls
What?
Alternate Souls Engage Knights edition.
This was just a proposal. This is definitely happening, but this was something I had commented to Eiji was while we're still building up, and for those that play any game, you know,
Yeah.
new artwork is very, very expensive.
Hell yeah, it
And
is.
So we are not at a point where we are making profit, and so to try and commission multiple new pieces is maybe still outside of our reach for now, but using the assets that we do have and maybe showing them again in interesting ways, return for some characters, etc. I don't know about you guys, but I loved the green ruler in Engage Knights.
Yeah.
If you recall, she had the plus and she
Yoshitsune?
would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh man, that was one of my. Anyways, so we've talked a lot about maybe bringing back historical cards, or excuse me, historical characters for a set, or going more into the kind of real life lore for a little while.
So
or
so
looking
Daniel
into-
So Daniel's asking, it would be crazy to get plastic resin miniatures to paint up for this 292 games. So I'm not gonna speak for Jeff, but I will say that idea is something that Jeff has talked about publicly, and Eiji has talked about publicly before, as like special reward potentials in the future or things like that, of like getting 3D model versions of certain characters, so that you could have not just the flat acrylics, which again are dope, but also like potentially like, you know, a Dark Alice actual minifig or something like that. So Daniel, to your question, that is already a thought that's been thought about. I'm not gonna speak for Jeff and Eiji in terms of that fact that that's happening, but to build your hype up, know that they have also thought that would be very cool.
the one thing I will comment on, and just to kind of as a kind of answer a why question, why acrylics over the regular figures. One of the big things is in Japan, those acrylic style figures are very popular for lots of different IPs. Kimetsu no Yaiba, for Attack on Titan, for all kinds of stuff. They're what's the girls who transform?
Which
Sailor
one?
Moon.
Which one? I was like, that's
I love
literally
it. Like which one?
that's literally a genre, Jeff.
Uh-oh.
He'll
Lost
be
him.
back. He frequently leaves. He'll be back.
But
Grippy.
that type of acrylic character is very common and very popular in Japan. So that is why we did that. The typical figurine, like I guess Warhammer or whatnot, I get the vibe that is a little bit more Western, and we do have them here in Japan, of course, but not in the same, I guess, capacity that I might otherwise. Yeah, what you got?
I'm gonna show you also why the acrylics are dope. So an average team, a typical team is a ruler and 5 linkers. Okay, this is a ruler and 5 linkers. This is a standard deck box. And then, so all those fit in there. And then I also have room for their base and their stats and my entire deck of cards in a deck box. So the other reason that's nice in terms of a practical sense with the acrylics is if you're a player of card games, you probably have something like a Hive or a Super Hive or a Vault where you're carrying multiple deck boxes around. So that's the beauty of Alternate Souls, is that you can literally keep an entire Alternate Souls deck just in a deck box and have it on you. To speak to what you were saying before of like going into a shop and being like, hey, anyone here play Alternate Souls? You're just ready to go.
So there's that part. Now the other thing is kind of a logistics thing as well. So again, moving them around, not as easy when you have the big army, but then also, and this is a point that I've stressed time and time again, is that the Japanese artwork does not translate easily into 3D. It's not as though the picture they've drawn can just forcibly be
Stretched.
pulled into 3D. It needs to be completely recreated. It needs to be designed in such a way that's meant for 3D. And so it's not as though we are just choosing not to, but you would not have that artist's style if it was made into the 3D figure. Now, there's some great 3D modeling out there, but in order to kind of give respect to the artist, and so for example, I love Ishisho. I think most people know that. But the 3D version of an Ishisho character would not be the same thing as an Ishisho artwork.
Yep.
And so wanting
Correct.
to preserve the artwork of the artists, that was a huge component. And I will say, one of Eiji's, he's so cute. He always felt bad whenever artist's card wasn't super strong, because he appreciated the time and the effort that they would put into that artwork. But we know, as card game players, every card cannot be amazing.
Correct.
And no matter what, it's not feasible. You're going to have not even a power level thing. It's just you only have enough room for so many cards in a deck.
Right, right. They can't all do everything.
So, yeah, and we kind of accept that. But when you look at it from the other side, you have an artist who's spending multiple hours working very hard, giving you beautiful artwork. And Eiji always felt bad when nice artwork didn't get used very often. And so another reason he really wanted to do Alternate Souls this way was so that some of those artworks had another chance.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe if they weren't super popular before as a card, but were beautiful, that we could use them again and have people have another chance to, hey, look at this artwork. It's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
And to kind of transition that into another idea. So
the game
for
is
now,
the game is truly a love letter to all those elements of
Yes.
things that you can't really that elements that make up a trading card game that don't normally get the attention because it's a trading card game. Like Alternate Souls is a love letter to those elements in a very big way, which is Can't wait to be able to play it on our live streams and stuff like that as soon as we get our hands on it. It's very fun.
Yes, you got a nice little setup now to do that kind of recording.
It's the cave. Yeah, we're here in the cave, so we have ways to be able to do that in a really good way. One thing that's neat that I personally can't wait to get, speaking of just kind of geeking out for a little bit, is the fact that you guys are working on, because it was a part of the Kickstarter goal, a playmat that was art on one side and a map on the other. So once again, I can just have one mat that I bring with me, and I'm like, oh, we playing card games? Oh, we playing alternate souls. Yeah.
I have not seen that one yet. I wanted to see that one recently. I think that one's still getting produced or something. We what was it? 2 Fridays ago, we had a bunch of the goodies and we were recording, and that video will be up soon enough. But that was one of the things I really wanted to see, and Eiji just said, like, yeah, that one's not here yet. I'm like, come on, I want to have that backstage pass.
This is why I work here.
Yeah, I work here to get cool things and do fun stuff.
That's it. That's the whole deal.
Correct.
I mean,
I think... Jordan? Oh, shit.
Oh!
Oof. That's okay. He's not going to see this anyway.
But
You're right.
one of the things I do think is important, though, is that, like, I think for Eiji and I, and anyone who knows any of my work besides, like, my actual job, that one of the big things for us is that games are supposed to be fun. We should be enjoying them. We want to get people together, and that includes our friends. And the idea is we want to have, for those that remember the First Wheel WGP, we want to have something like that. Maybe less concerned with the competitive aspect, because we know that, so where Force of Will is a very competitive card game, very tournament level kind of strategies involved. For Alternate Souls, we would love people just to come, to visit, to play games, to enjoy Japanese culture and food, have some sake if you're old enough. Like, we want to see our friends, we want to be with our friends and play games, and
Suntory whiskey, baby.
That entire kind of concept of play games with your friends, bring the world together, we very, very much strongly believe in that.
Can confirm, the one big thing that I'll take away from WGP 2018, other than meeting Jeff and the rest of the guys and getting to hang out with...
meeting. What? I thought you said beating. I was like, when did you beat me?
Yeah, destroying...
Times I have beaten Jeff.
Beating Jeff...
0 times.
Times I've beaten Jeff when we forced him to ban Gretel.
That's true.
1 point, Mike.
All right. Point for Mike.
No, but I definitely say, like, the biggest memories I have of that event wasn't even just, obviously the tournament was great, hanging out with everyone at the player meeting was great, but just the week I spent in Japan beating up with all these players. Just like, I was in a room with the only 2 other mics in the whole tournament, and also Dennis, and and we just went, like, we were at like this Airbnb in Akihabara, and just going down, just exploring that main road the first night. The first time I had ever tried katsudon, which was magical for me, honestly. And I've never had a better katsudon since the first night I was in Japan, tired, hungry, and without all my luggage because they forgot it in DC.
Fun. Yeah, I think that's the whole thing. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that's it. Like, to see everyone. I know Jeremy and I did casting together that day, or during the event, and I remember we had like the book under the table, and we're like, "What's the name of that card again?"
Well, yes, I just pulled these cards out of a box last night. I need to know what these cards do.
Oh man, just all the stuff, the going around, seeing everybody. I had lots of meetings and side stuff, but just being able
Good
to
words.
spend time with you guys to make so that there was no stickers that year for the event, if you guys remember
I'm
2017.
disassociating. Anyway,
That was
but
not
like
a
I think
2017.
as someone who's
I
been
picked a good year.
as someone who's been kind of sitting on the outside when Eiji like first brought up this idea of alternate souls and kind of Jeff, I had meetings with you guys talking about the approach to it and everything else kind of coming to it,
Mhm.
and now and playing it I agree with you that the feel of the game of alternate souls is more on the interaction of the people, like it because it's a naturally slower paced game, being a board game, not a competitive card game. And it does have that like natural tempo pacing of a game like chess. And like when you're not looking at like competitive, I mean, like look at chess. It's one of the oldest games that's ever been played, right? And to this day, people of all ages play chess at the casual all the way up through the competitive, and they talk about that it's just about sitting down across from someone and having a good time. And I think that Alternate Souls captures that experience while also scratching the itch of those of us who really enjoy deck builders or really enjoy like the anime Japanese culture and everything else. It is, like shogi is like the closest natural one-to-one comparison for like Eastern culture chess and here. But like then we took shogi and we made it weeb. And we made alternate souls.
Yeah.
and that's the same, and that's the exact same kind of feel, and that's why I like it so much, because it's a type of game and a type of interaction that you just don't get playing a regular TCG, and it has all the drive and nostalgia of being connected to your favorite IPs.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. If Force of Will is Weeb Magic the Gathering, then Alternate Souls is just Weeb chess.
Yep, weeb chess. Yep, for sure. Very much looking forward to
the new realm.
We've entered the new realm. But no, so it's good to know that you guys are, as we wrap up here, it's really exciting to hear that you guys are so close to being finished with production and have things lined up. We'll certainly be doing more coverage of it here on the channel and stuff as we get closer to that. And of course, we'll be doing unboxings because we backed at the highest level, so we'll be able to show off all the fancy stuff. Like we backed at the highest level so much that I asked Jeff to give me special access to make sure no one could beat me on my pledge. Like that level of like special access.
He pledged so much that his name is on the box.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm in. But we're very, very excited about it. We'll be sure to share information with people, and we look forward to. There is an Alternate Souls YouTube page, so you can find Alternate Souls just by searching on YouTube, which I'm sure that video will be posted in a bit. Alternate Souls is also on Facebook. There is a public group, as well as the page itself. And you mentioned that there is an Alternate Souls Discord as well, or is it the Facebook group?
The Facebook group.
Facebook group. Great.
Sorry.
Well, that's a good place to get started. So if any of the stuff that we've talked about has interested you, either as a new person pursuing Alternate Souls or as a coming back person who just wanted to hear news about this Kickstarter, be sure to check those places out. Just search for Alternate Souls and you'll find it. And Jeff, thank you for joining us today. It's been a wonderful time, as always, getting to be able to chat with you. Miss you, buddy. And for everyone who has been watching tonight, we hope you enjoyed it. If you liked what we did, if we made you laugh, if we made you smile, if we made you question why we had Mike Rance on tonight because he hasn't played the game yet, feel free to go ahead and click that join button and spam a bunch of emotes to make us seem really confused. That being said, we do want to say have a great night. And as always, it's been joined by DMO73, and I've been joined by the wonderful Jeff Finnigan and Mike Rance. And until next time, class dismissed. Have a good night, everybody.